Meanwhile, the president of Belarus told his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, that the members of the paramilitary group Wagner wanted to cross the border to visit Poland and settle a score. This comes amid the rising tensions between the three countries as the conflict in Ukraine winds on. Carlo de la Peña for the rest of the details.
As part of the deal that ended the short-term mutiny, Wagner members were offered a chance to either retire, join the Russian military, or go to Belarus together with their boss Yevgeny Prigozhin. Those who remained on Prigozhin's side are currently in Belarus to help train Minsk's army.
Приветствую, парни! Рады вас всех приветствовать! Приездом на белорусскую землю! Мы достойно воевали! Вы сделали для России очень много! Сейчас то, что происходит на фронте, это позор, в котором нам не нужно участвовать. И дождаться того момента, когда мы сможем проявить себя по полной программе. Поэтому принято решение, что мы будем находиться здесь, в Беларуси, какое-то время. За это время мы сделаем, и я в этом уверен, белорусскую армию второй армией в мире. А если нужно, то вступимся за них, в случае, если это потребуется. Я всех хочу попросить максимально обратить внимание на то, что белорусы встретили нас не только как героев.
Meanwhile, Belarusian President Aleksandr Lukashenko on Sunday told Russian President Vladimir Putin that Wagner wants to reach the Polish capital of Warsaw and the city of Rzeszów, which they believe was a hub for providing Ukrainian forces with military hardware during the fighting for Artyomovsk, also known as Bakhmut. Lukashenko told Putin, and quote, "They know where the military hardware came from during the fighting in Artyomovsk, so they have this internal feeling that Rzeszów is trouble." End of quote. He also noted that the paramilitary knew what is going on around the Union state of Russia and Belarus, so he could not like to have them relocated somewhere away from the central Belarus, particularly given that they are in a bad mood. Lukashenko also gave Putin a map that depicts the movement of Polish troops to the borders of the Union state of Russia and Belarus.
О переброске вооруженных сил Польши к границам союзного государства, о чем вы говорили. Мы видим, готовится почва. Допустим, одна из бригад место свое нашла в 40 километрах от Бреста. Стояли километров 500, перебросили на 40 километров. Карту я покажу, мы это все видим. И чуть больше 100 километров от Гродно. Вторая бригада перебрасывает.
It can be remembered that in early July, General Command of the Polish Armed Forces announced the transfer 1,000 servicemen and nearly 200 units of equipment from their 12th and 17th Mechanized Brigades to the eastern part of Poland. And on Sunday, Polish Defense Minister Mariusz Błaszczak said that a new sapper battalion will be formed in the northeastern Poland by the end of 2023. The defense minister said that this unit will be created from scratch, is expected to bolster Polish defenses in the Suwalki Gap, a region separating the Russian exclave of Kaliningrad from Belarus. Meanwhile, the United States said that it will defend Poland in case of any attack.
I will say it is another in a series of irresponsible comments by Lukashenko, and the only thing I will reiterate, as I said about another matter earlier in this briefing, the United States will defend every inch of NATO territory.
While NATO has the Article 5, which states that an attack on one of NATO member countries is considered an attack on all of them, Russia and Belarus have a defense pact, and aside from Wagner forces currently in Belarus, there are also Russian troops stationed in the said country. Russia also deployed their nuclear warheads to Belarus in June amid ongoing tensions with NATO over the conflict in Ukraine. Putin has already declared that any attack on Belarus is considered as an attack against Russia. Reporting, this has been Carlo de la Peña, SMNI News.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky criticized the European Union countries over grain exports, saying that keeping the ban on UN European at all. Let's hear more from Jane Conita.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky slammed Eastern European nations that intended to preserve the current ban on grain imports from Ukraine. For Zelensky, such moves are violating the values of the European Union. To recall, the ban on grain imports was imposed by the European Commission in May under the pressure from nations including Bulgaria, Hungary, Poland, Romania, and Slovakia. These countries were reportedly seeking to protect their local farmers from Ukrainian competition. However, the Ukrainian president said that Brussels should let the restriction expire on September 15.
Абсолютно неприпустимо і відверто не європейське будь-яке продовження обмежень. Європа має інституційну спроможність діяти раціональніше, ніж закривати той чи інший кордон для того чи іншого товару. Ми дуже активно працюємо з усіма, щоб знайти таке рішення, яке відповідатиме духу нашої Європи.
It can be remembered that the EU first lifted tariffs and quotas for Ukrainian exports to support the country amid its conflict with Russia. However, the prices went tumbling because of the cheaper products that flooded the common market of the European Union. Eastern European farmers also reeled from the effect, prompting them to protest. This event caused Bulgaria, Hungary, Poland, Romania, and Slovakia to impose unilateral restrictions before Brussels eventually agreed to their demands for a ban. Furthermore, the move to keep the restrictions beyond the deadline was also fueled by the collapse of the Black Sea grain deal after Russia refused to extend it. Russia also claimed that the economic sanctions on their food and fertilizer exports were not lifted in contrast to what the United Nations had promised them. Reporting, this has been Jane Conita, SMNI News.